Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing. We are extremely glad in it. Good afternoon, good afternoon. For those of you that are coming on live, please do me a favor, put in the comments what city you're watching your boy from. I appreciate all of you for continuing to support the Ramonepreston Show. All of you that follow us, all of you that participate in the show, engage with us to let us know that this information, this content that we share with you is valuable. Thank you so very much. Again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. If you are joining me live, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know your boy Ramonepreston, my squad. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ramonepreston. I am the host of the Ramonepreston Show. And every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time, I show up here on this show to give you the game, to share information with you that I know you can use, especially if you're an entrepreneur looking to start, structure, and scale your business and your income streams. So today, I want to take some time, like I promised you I will all week. I'm going to be talking about the holding company. So if you're interested in learning more about the holding company, if you are already in tune with information about the holding company, maybe you are in the process of building your own organizational enterprise out, everything that I'm going to be sharing with you this week is going to be centered around the holding company. One reason why is because this upcoming Saturday, May the 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., I'm hosting a live virtual holding company workshop. It's going to be a one-day deep dive. I'm going to be teaching you and training you and educating you and empowering you on how to start and structure and scale a holding company. So I'll extend that offer to you by the end of the show. So if you want to join me live this upcoming Saturday, I have a special offer for you to join me for my virtual holding company workshop. It's going to be a $97 special. So you pay $97 today. You get instant access to my holding company course, plus my startup kit. You get instant access to my digital workbook. You get instant access to the replay of my last holding company workshop, and you get a free VIP ticket to join me this upcoming Saturday. We'll talk about that at the end of today's show. All right, so today we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. If you've heard about holding companies, if you're interested in having a holding company and putting yourself in a position to own a holding company and to use it and leverage to build your organization out, today I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. Now, very quickly, just in case you missed yesterday's show, I talked about just the basics, the foundation for what a holding company is and how a holding company actually works. So just to give you a quick recap from yesterday's show, I know this is a horrible depiction of how a holding company should be structured, but I'm not an artist. I just wanted to give you a basic definition and a description for what a holding company is, how a holding company works. So if you don't know what a holding company is, it's a legal entity. So you can use a LLC, a S Corp, or C Corp, whatever type of legal entity you use. The fact that you're using it as a holding company describes that it is being used to hold other assets, whether it's businesses, whether it's trademarks, and there are so many other assets your holding company can actually hold. But what it's important for you to understand today, even before I give you the top 5 reasons for starting a holding company, is that when you look at a holding company, it looks totally different than how most entrepreneurs set up and structure their businesses. So for example, if you're an entrepreneur, you got 3 or 4, let's say you got 4 business ideas. Well, if you don't understand the holding company and you don't understand how to use that holding company to build your organization out, most likely you're gonna start 4 different LLCs and you're gonna own all four of those LLCs. This is how your structure typically looks. Most entrepreneurs, this is how they set their structure out. They want a real estate investment company. They start a LLC and they own it. They may want a Turo business or some type of rental car business or trucking business. They start another LLC. Maybe they want to get into Airbnb and some type of rental business. They start another LLC. Maybe they have an idea for a clothing line or some type of apparel line. They start another LLC. And this entrepreneur, because this entrepreneur doesn't understand holding companies and the concept behind it, they end up with multiple LLCs that they as individuals own, as opposed to the entrepreneur who understands how to use a holding company. Look how this structure is. It's still 4 LLCs. This will be 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So you got 4 LLCs here, but this entrepreneur owns all 4 of them. You got 4 here, but this entrepreneur who understands the power of a holding company, they own the holding company, and the holding company owns the other 4 LLCs. So you got the same number of LLCs, you just have it structured differently. So that's a quick recap from yesterday when we were talking about the power of the holding company. Today, I want to talk about the top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. Okay, you see, just from the structure of a holding company, it creates a better flow. It gives you more leverage and more flexibility to grow as an individual, and it doesn't put you at the top of all these other LLCs or companies that you're starting. It puts you at the top of the holding company. It puts you at the top of the holding company, and it puts the holding company at the top of the other entities. All right, if that makes sense. So let's talk about the top 5 reasons, for starting a holding company. All right, number one, the top reason why you should start a holding company is because your holding company is your legacy company. Now, if you listen to me enough, you probably already have heard me say that if you structure your holding company correctly, you should structure your holding company as a legacy company, meaning that you want your company to be like Johnson & Johnson or SC Johnson. You want your holding company to be like JP Morgan. You want your holding company to be like Walton Enterprises that owns Walmart or a lot of the Walmart shares and Sam's Club. You want your holding company to be like all of the biggest companies you can think about in the world. A lot of the biggest companies in the world that are holding companies, not only are they structured to be more advantageous as holding companies, but they build their legacy into that company. Like a lot of the older holding companies, the Johnson & Johnsons, the JP Morgans, the Merrill Lynches, the Berkshire Hathaways, a lot of them actually use the name of the person who created the legacy. So it's not that you have to use your name when you're establishing a holding company, but if you're looking at building a brand and you want to build brand awareness and have some type of brand identity, it may be better to use your name. Now, we have clients in real estate, my wife and I, that we've worked with who, because they wanted anonymity, they didn't want to be known, they didn't want tenants to bother them. Well, we showed them how to create this infrastructure where, okay, you don't have to be known, but if you want to build a brand and you want to build brand awareness and have brand identity, most likely it may be better for you to use your holding company as the brand name. Like, for example, Ramonepreston Enterprises, all right? That's the main umbrella parent company of our organization. Because number one, this is the top reason why I want to start one. I want to create a legacy. So I tied my name to my holding company so that number one, I can build a brand. I can build brand awareness. I can have brand identity. I am the brand ambassador. So when you think about Ramonepreston Enterprises, you're not just thinking about a business, you're thinking about a person. And at some point, the RP family of businesses, the RP brand of businesses will become known and big enough that it not only solidifies my legacy, but it makes it easier for me to go into the marketplace. So I'm going to be talking a lot about this Saturday for those of you that are going to join me for my holding company workshop. And one of the segments in here I take about an hour to talk about is how to use your holding company to properly position yourself in the market, particularly as an expert, as an expert in the marketplace. Well, when you position yourself as an expert in the marketplace, it makes your branding and your marketing and your messaging easy. This is the issue that a lot of entrepreneurs have when they go into the marketplace. They can't craft a solid message because they're not clear on their marketing, because they're not clear on their branding, because they wasn't clear on how they need to establish a business. So again, if I show you this diagram that I drew yesterday, and you're the entrepreneur that have 4 business ideas, and you create 4 LLCs, let's say. You got a real estate company, you an investor, you got an Airbnb company, you got a Turo business or a rental car business or a trucking business, you got a clothing brand or whatever the businesses are that you have. Well, the fact that you own all 4 of these, there's really no clear brand awareness here, is it? Because you're gonna struggle to figure out, okay, what business should I market? What should my main message be? But if you have your structure set up like this and you have a holding company and you got all your companies under there, you could create a family of brands under the main brand where now when you present yourself in the marketplace, it can be consistent across the board. So when Ramonepreston Enterprises shows up, we could talk about coaching, we could talk about business consulting, we could talk about real estate investing. We do have an apparel line. We have a clothing brand. I got a church. I have a ministry. I got a school. I got all types of stuff that go on under my banner. But it doesn't feel like it's 1,000 things going on because I'm consistent with my presentation as a brand, if that makes sense, okay? So back to my top 5 reasons why you should start a holding company, or the top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. Number 1, your holding company is your legacy company, all right? And I personally believe every family should own a holding company. Every family should own a holding company, because here's the thing. Even if you work a W-2 job and you have a retirement plan or some 401k or some pension and you don't really want to run an operating business, a holding company is not necessarily an operating business. A holding company is a holding company. It is a company that you create to hold assets. I have clients that I work with as a coach and a consultant who they have holding companies. And because they understand what I've taught them and what I show them, they have had like self-directed IRAs that they have put under their holding company in separate LLCs. And it has literally exploded their net worth and their overall value because they understand the concept. So this is the top reason for starting a holding company. Your holding company is your legacy company. It is the company that should hold and house any of the assets that you have, whether it's trademarks, whether it's copyrights, whether it's other businesses. It could be ownership interests. It could be companies that own real estate. It could be companies that own vehicles. It could be equipment. Like all your assets should come up under the umbrella company to solidify and continue to expand your legacy. All right. So that's the top reason. Number 2, the second reason for starting a holding company is because of what they're calling the greatest wealth transfer ever. Like right now, if you listen to a lot of economists, what they are projecting is that the baby boomer generation, you know, we've got maybe the 70, 80-year-olds, and some even in their 60s who are retiring. They're leaving the workforce. They're ready to, they're ready to exit their businesses. The baby boomer generation, right? This generation is retiring. This generation is leaving the workforce. This generation is leaving the marketplace. They're exiting their businesses. And there's going to be a major wealth transfer to this generation. A lot of people who listen to this stuff and hear this on the news, what they don't understand is this wealth transfer is not going to be person to person. So it's not like the baby boomer generation is going to like transfer all this wealth to our generation by, like wiring us money or cash apping us. You get what I'm saying? It ain't working like that, or just writing us a check. Number one, they understand a lot of the tax implications and negative ramifications that come with certain transactions and transfers. So they know, or at least the people that they work with, like the attorneys and the CPAs and tax strategists, they all know if there's going to be a transfer of assets from one generation to another generation, the best way to transfer those assets is through business entities. So when you're an entrepreneur and you start learning the ins and outs of business systems, right? And business structures, particularly the holding company type of structure and system, what happens is you can use your holding company as an acquisition company, basically. Like that's a big deal in today's world. Acquisitions are a big thing in today's world because there are a lot of businesses that are either shutting down. Some studies show today that there are over 1,600 businesses that shut down every day. Okay, I don't know of how many of those businesses are led by baby boomers, but there are over 1,600 businesses. Some studies show that shut down every day. Well, if you have a holding company and you understand this second reason for starting one, maybe you position your holding company, your legacy company, this parent organization, this umbrella organization, maybe you just position it for the purpose of acquisitions, for you to acquire real estate, for you to acquire other businesses or other assets that may not even be related to an operational business. So I want all of you entrepreneurs you might be scrapping, you might feel like, man, it's just hard for me to get my business going. Well, you're just thinking about your operating business. You need to start thinking about the legacy of your business. You need to start thinking about how can I position my business in the marketplace in a way that I can grab some of the wealth that's being transferred, especially if a lot of this wealth is going to be transferred, if not most of this wealth is going to be transferred business to business. It ain't going to be transferred from one person to another person. Am I making sense? Do you understand what I'm saying so far? Okay. So if you understand what I'm saying and you are an entrepreneur, but even if you're not an entrepreneur, understand the power of a holding company and understand the value of having your company structured and set up the right way. So top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. Number 1, your holding company is your legacy. It's your legacy company. If you structure it right, you should consider your holding company to be the brand company, the brand ambassador. There should be some brand identity for your holding company that creates more of a synchronization and a flow with all your other companies that you have. You don't want to be all over the place with multiple businesses that you personally own and you don't even know how to brand yourself. You don't know how to market. You don't know what your message is. It's confusing. And then when you go to the marketplace, they're going to be confused. All right. So reason number 2, because of this great wealth transfer, there are going to be trillions, not billions with a B, but trillions with a T. Trillions of dollars will be transferred. Here's the truth. Trillions of dollars are already being transferred as we speak. So these experts are just showing us that trillions of dollars are being transferred, and within the next, let's say 7 to 8 years, it's probably going to be, multiple trillions of dollars. Within the next 20, 30 years, it's going to be tens of trillions of dollars transferred. So I think if you could position yourself now, even if you're just a small business owner or solopreneur, to understand these sophisticated business concepts, you're going to put yourself in a better position. All right. Number 3, the third reason for starting a holding company is for what we call consolidation and centralization. So this is a little bougie. This is a little bougie. And here's the good thing. For all of you that are taking advantage of my $97 offer, and you're going to join me this Saturday for my live holding company workshop to get access to this workbook, to learn all the ins and outs of holding companies. I'm also giving you 1 year access to my holding company program. I have an entire program made up of like dozens of courses. They are like videos. I have a startup kit with walkthrough tutorials. I've got the documents and the forms to show you how to start and structure your holding companies, your operating companies, how to build your divisions out. Like, I show you all the ins and outs. So the good thing about that is a lot of this information that I'm sharing with you in a short window on the show, you're going to have that information inside of the course. All right, inside of the holding company course. So you'll be able to get all this information and take your time and flesh through it so you can become more familiar with it. All right, but here's the third top reason for starting a holding company. It's called consolidation and centralization. So what do you mean by consolidation? Well, let me show you. Again, this is my little makeshift diagram. We don't want you to have your business structure set up this way. We don't want you to own 4 different LLCs or 40 different LLCs. We don't want your enterprise to look like this. We want your business structure to look like that. Instead of you owning 4 LLCs, we want you to own one main LLC, which is your parent LLC, and we want your parent to own the other ones. And we want it to be a brand. We want it to be consistent. We want it to flow. We want it to be easy for you so that you could continue to, do what you do as an entrepreneur, right? So the third top reason for starting a holding company is consolidation. So that means, just like I showed you on this diagram, when you consolidate everything, that means even when you do your taxes, your tax person will tell you this. If your holding company wholly owns these other subsidiaries, that's what they call them, the income and expenses that you track throughout the year, or the net profits that you come up with, they're going to be passed up to the holding company, then up to you as the owner. So your tax person most likely will do a consolidated tax return. Now, I'm not a tax expert, so don't quote me on every intricate detail that I'm giving to you, but I talk to my tax strategists and my tax people and these experts enough to know a little bit, to know that, okay, if you have one holding company and your holding company owns other LLCs under it, there's going to be a consolidation even in your taxes. So now you're able to consolidate it, but not just in your taxes, but you consolidate everything even in your operations. You're able to operate your organizational enterprise more efficiently and more effectively when you have it structured that way. When you around here owning like multiple LLCs yourself, your taxes look different. How you run your day-to-day operation, everything looks different because it's not consolidated and it's not centralized. So when you have a holding company and you have this infrastructure built like a holding company, you create consolidation, you create centralization. That's how you centralize your effectiveness and your efficiency as a company. I'm telling you, like the fact that I have my company set up this way right here, I don't have it set up this way. I don't want to own multiple companies. I want to own one company. I want this company to preferably be my holding company, and I want it to be the brand. I want it to be the parent. I want it to be the mountaintop company so that I can be consistent in my brand. And I want these other companies under it, number one, to be owned by it, because I want centralization and I want consolidation, but I also want effectiveness. I want efficiency. So as I mentioned with my company, I'm just using my company as an example. When I go to the marketplace as Ramonepreston Enterprises, like I'm representing a lot of different operations under that company. I'm representing a lot of divisions. I'm representing other operating businesses, products and services, but I'm centralized. It's not all over the place. I'm not trying to go to the marketplace and brand 4 different LLCs. You can do that, But if you're a small business owner, you're a solopreneur and you're just getting started, or you've been started, but you don't really have no brand awareness, no brand identity, you don't really have the momentum, the financial resources, everything that you do is important when you just getting started. Remember, I'm giving you information from the perspective of somebody who just had to scrap it out in the beginning with no resources, with no capital, with no financing, with nobody to back me. And I had to figure out what is the best, most effective and efficient way that I can build my company, be flexible and free to continue to explore and move forward without getting bottlenecked in a certain business or operation, but I could be consistent with my branding and with my marketing and with my messaging. This structure is what will enhance that and make that happen. All right. So number 4, I'm giving you the top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. Number 4 is what we call allocation and distribution. Allocation and distribution. This is a big deal. This is allocation and distribution. So what do you mean by that? These are some big words, little bougie words. But what I'm saying by allocation and distribution is, and I'll show you this diagram just to help you understand those 2 words. All right. So if you look at these two different pictures, right? So if this company here has money, these are separate entities that I own right here, right? Okay, it's hard for me to allocate money from this company to this company, or from money from this company to this company when they're all separate entities. You know what I mean? Like, how am I going to allocate money? How am I going to redistribute resources throughout these 4 companies if they're separate? Unless I have a business or B2B relationship with them. But that creates a whole nother complication, tax implication and everything else. You can do it, but it's easier if I have this type of structure, and if LLC number 2 makes money, but LLC number 2 is owned by LLC number 1, well, the proceeds are going to come up to the holding company, and the holding company has the control and the power and the freedom and flexibility to allocate to some of that pre-tax money, depending on what the tax implication is. And again, when you make these decisions, you want to talk to your tax person, because before I make a business decision, like just about any business decision that I make, especially when it's a big business decision, I'm not talking about like buying computers or buying studio equipment, and sometimes even that I will. But when I'm talking about like major purchases, things that I'm not real clear on, I just reached out to my tax strategist this morning, because it's like, okay, before I make a purchase, before I do something, I want to know, is this purchase a non-taxable purchase, or is this purchase something that I can write off and deduct to lower my tax bill? So that's how you start moving. Of course, when you do it in real estate, if you got a real estate company under your holding company, it's easy for you to purchase a piece of real estate, and that could be a non-taxable event because you're going to get your depreciation, you're going to get all your tax perks from that purchase. But what happens when you're trying to reallocate and redistribute money from LLC number 2 to LLC number 4, let's say for real estate? Well, if you're doing it with this business structure, it's almost hard to do, because if you own 4 different LLCs and your clothing brand crushes it, you go out there and make $300,000 this year, and before the year is out, you're looking for some tax benefits. Okay, how are you going to move this money from this LLC that you own to this LLC that does real estate? How are you going to move that money? There has to be some business transaction to justify that. Unless you do have a holding company and your parent company owns the clothing company and the real estate company. Now, when the clothing company makes the $300,000, even pre-tax, where is that money going up to? It's going up to the holding company. Now, the holding company can make that purchase through that real estate company because the holding company owns it. That's why I said the fourth reason for starting a holding company is allocation and distribution. Like, this is how you start playing that next level game. Because I'm telling you, I've been through it and I've experienced it enough. When you out there with an operating business, selling products, providing a service, or doing both through an operating business, all right? I know my artistry ain't the best, but when you out there grinding and banging out, selling products and services through an operating business, the next problem you gonna have when you start making money as an entrepreneur is a tax problem. That's the next problem you gonna have. And if you don't have enough money to acquire real estate to get those depreciations and to get those tax perks that come with buying a piece of real estate, you've got to have other business activities that you're able to allocate and distribute some of those pre-tax dollars in, some of which can be non-taxable events, and others can just be business expenses to expand certain aspects of your business enterprise that's under that umbrella, if that makes sense, okay? So very quickly before I give you the fifth one, because I got a hard stop I got to make, and I want to make sure that you get in this game, okay? So top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. Number 1, it's your legacy company. Even if you don't want to run a business, owning a business has its advantages. Because I got a lot of clients who have holding companies that they set up. They had retirement accounts. They self-directed them in LLCs under their holding company. They had operating companies that they put under there, and it just gave them the ultimate leverage and flexibility to start parlaying the game in a different way. I know doing it this way has helped me, but also your legacy company, if you building your legacy company correctly, you should be considering the 3 B's, your business structure, which we talking about a LLC as a holding company. We're talking about the second B, your brand identity, and the brand ambassador. Those things have to be thought through the branding level, because if it's not, it's gonna affect your marketing. Your marketing is tied to your branding, and then your messaging is tied to your marketing. So as I said, if Ramonepreston Enterprises is going into the marketplace, okay, well, Ramonepreston is the brand ambassador. Ramonepreston is the brand identity, but Ramonepreston is also the business. It just makes it easier for me to communicate. And then when I start getting people to come through the front door of Ramonepreston, no different than you come through the front door of Kroger or Winn-Dixie or Publix or Walmart, I can direct the traffic to determine what aisle do I need to send people to based on the attention that I initially got for them. Where do I need to walk them down to? You understand what I'm saying? So this legacy component is very important. The second reason is because of the greatest wealth transfer. Remember, all this wealth that's being transferred from the baby boomer generation to our generation, it's not being transferred person to person. It's a B2B transfer. It's business entity to business entity, or business system to business system. This ain't being transferred from Uncle Jake to nephew John. You get what I'm saying? Like, it ain't happening like that. These are business entities and systems and infrastructures that will reallocate, if you will, and redistribute these assets to other entities, to other systems, and to other infrastructures, particularly for the purpose of, like lowering their tax liability, mitigating it, or eliminating it altogether. So you want to put yourself at play as an entrepreneur to be in this game, especially when we start hitting certain levels of this transfer. Like when more and more baby boomers start retiring, when they start exiting the marketplace, when they start exiting the workforce, you want to already have this in play. You want to have this in play. You want to be positioned properly and be clear on how do you maximize the advantages of having this type of infrastructure. Number 3, consolidation and centralization. All right. So when you have a holding company and your holding company has wholly owned subsidiaries, your taxes are done differently. They're going to do a consolidated tax return because all those other entities under the holding company or the parent company are pass-through entities. So that's going to be a big deal for you. But even the consolidation works with how you run and manage the day-to-day operations of your business. All right. So as I said, I have a nonprofit organization. I have a for-profit organization. I have many different divisions and business operations under my umbrella, but it feels like more effective and more efficient because I have it structured in a way that makes it that way for me. All right. So you have consolidation and you have centralization. Everything is centralized. The parent company dictates to a lot of the things that go on, which later on this week, we got 3 more days before my workshop. I'll be talking to you more about how your holding company, your parent company, should be used as an asset management company. See, this is next level thinking. I don't want you to just be an entrepreneur with an operating business out there grinding, selling a product, providing a service. You stay on that. But while you're on that, I want you to start being able to figure out how to use this company as an asset manager so you can start accumulating other assets to give yourself that spread and that runway to really be able to grow and break those financial barriers. Number 4, we have allocation and distribution, in which I explained that. And then last but not least, the 5th and final reason for starting a holding company is what I call the 4 Ps. All right, the 4 Ps. So I want you to take these down and then we're going to go. The 4 Ps. Number 1, the first P is protection. I think that's self-explanatory, but I'll explain them. Let me just write them down. Protection, preservation, production, and purchasing power. Remember what I mentioned to you earlier. If you've been watching me for a while, all this information that I'm sharing with you, I'm running through it fast because I only have a certain amount of time on this show. But all this information is inside of my holding company course that I'm gonna give you for free when you sign up for my holding company workshop this upcoming Saturday. So I'll extend that offer to you and give you the details in just a minute. The 4 Ps are the 5th reason why you should be starting a holding company. Or if you already have LLCs or a company or a couple companies set up, why you should restructure your company or your organization, your enterprise in a way to reflect that of a holding company. Number 1 is protection. Well, the ultimate protection, you see it right here, just in this diagram. And here's the good thing. In the workshop, in the workbook, and even in the courses inside of my holding company program, I have a lot of diagrams. Okay, I got a lot of pretty little diagrams that I use. Let me show you one because I know it's looking a mess up here on my board, but I'm not an artist. I'm an entrepreneur. Those are 2 different things. So I don't specialize in making my graphs look good when I'm on my whiteboard. I specialize in running my business. So let me show you one of the diagrams that I have. So that's one of the diagrams that I have in the workbook. So when we go through our interactive exercise, we walk through this so I can show you how you build that out. Because a lot of you entrepreneurs, you're doing business. You're doing a lot of things. You just don't know all the things that you're doing because you haven't compartmentalized them. You haven't made a lot of the things that you do make sense. And even when we start talking about the 30 different assets that you need to identify with, accumulate, and integrate into your business ecosystem, when you start reading through those 30 different assets, you're like, man, I didn't even think about that being an asset. But that's why you need people to help you think about that so you can see it and really maximize all the things that you're doing. So again, we're talking about preservation, protection. Protection is the first P. How is it protection? Well, if you own 4 LLCs, you're at the top. You're at the top of each of those LLCs. But when you own the one LLC and it's the holding company, right? and your holding company owns these other LLCs, you're automatically protected even more, even though this is a limited liability company and you're on top of it, but it's just an extra layer of protection for you. So that's one of the 4 P's, all right? The second P is preservation. Why is it preservation? Well, if you're thinking about your legacy, long-term legacy, right, for you and for your family, your holding company can actually become the company that you house your assets in, because at some point you may even start a trust, open up a trust. And once you create a trust, most likely you're going to transfer the ownership of the holding company to the trust, but the holding company already owns the other assets. So you don't have to gather all these assets to fund the trust necessarily. You have the holding company that you've already, for lack of a different way of explaining it, you've already funded the holding company. So now the holding company can fund the trust, if that makes sense. So it's preservation. There's a level of preservation that comes with it. Production, well, you're going to be more productive just with this structure as opposed to this structure. You're going to be more productive in your marketing. You're going to be more productive in your sales. Like just in your marketing and sales with these 2 different structures. If you personally own 4 different companies, real estate, trucking, or Turo business, rental car business, or Airbnb, clothing line, let's just say you own 4 different business operations. Okay, well, the production of these 4 are all connected to you, but this is 4 different types of marketing, 4 different sales processes, even though they could be similar, but it just complicates your productivity. You see what I'm saying? It complicates it, where if you are at the top and you've built yourself as a brand correctly, and you thought your brand through correctly, and your holding company is assisting you in building that brand, and you have other entities under there, they could be separate entities, but if they're a part of the family of those brands, your marketing and your sales becomes more productive and more powerful. Just as simple as that. And here's the last P. The last P is purchasing power. The reason why you have more purchasing power, because your holding company now owns assets, especially if some of those assets are operating businesses that are actually out in the marketplace making real moolah, baby. So today's show was about the top 5 reasons for starting a holding company. And again, as I mentioned earlier, all this information that I'm sharing with you, it's in my holding company course. I have dozens and dozens of videos. I want to give you free access to that holding company course for 1 year. I'm going to give you free access to my startup kit, which is made up of tutorial videos showing you how to file and form paperwork, showing you how to properly structure your holding company, LLC, your divisions, and your operating company. And we give you the documents and the forms you need. I want to give you that for free. And the way you're going to get that for free is you just sign up to join me this upcoming Saturday for my holding company workshop. I'm hosting a live virtual. It's not a replay. It's live this Saturday, May the 20th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm going to be hosting a 1-day holding company workshop. It's a 1-day deep dive. I'm going to give you this digital workbook. It's just like this. It's a digital workbook. It's an interactive workbook. We're going to walk through this entire workbook. I'm going to be teaching you all the ins and outs of holding companies. I promise you, just this workshop alone, if you're interested in understanding holding companies, how to leverage them, how to use them, how to maximize them, how to reposition yourself with them, you're going to leave just this 1-day workshop thinking, oh my God, I should have did this like 20 years ago. So I want to give you access to my holding company workshop this Saturday for only $97. This is a $97 special. We normally charge $497 for this holding company workshop. Right now on my website, ramonepreston.com/event, this holding company workshop goes for $497. This is a special offer we're extending to you through the show that you can respond to today for $97. You're going to get one VIP ticket to join me virtually live this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You're going to get access to your own personal interactive digital workbook that you can follow along with me. You're going to have access to this video training and this workbook. You could download it, have access to it for at least a year. And then we're going to also give you the full replay and digital workbook from our last holding company workshop. It's already included and inside of the workshop that we're going to onboard you to once you reach out to us. But I'm also giving you 1 year access to my holding company course. This holding company course is literally an encyclopedia of information, training videos, documents and forms, tutorials to show you everything you need to know about holding companies. So you get 1 year access to my entire course, dozens of videos, dozens of lessons, and you're going to get my startup kit where I have walkthrough video tutorials in the event you are a do-it-yourselfer and you want to file and form your own paperwork. I'm going to show you how to file and form your paperwork, how to draft your operating agreements, how to get your EIN, your articles of organization. If you have other businesses or assets that you currently own that you want to transfer the ownership to your new holding company, we show you how to do it. If you have existing LLCs that you want to transfer to your new holding company, we show you how to do it. So again, for $97, I'm giving you one VIP ticket to my live virtual holding company workshop this Saturday. I'm also giving you access to your own digital workbook, the full replay of our other holding company workshop just for free, 1 year access to my holding company course, and my startup kit with walkthrough video tutorials, documents, and forms. All you got to do is text the word VIP right now. Just text the word VIP. All of you on Instagram, if you want to join me live and get a VIP ticket to join me and get a workbook so you can learn everything you need to know about holding companies, you want to get 1 year access to my course and my startup kit, just text the word VIP to 678-276-8253. Text VIP to 678-276-8253. All right? I'm looking forward to hearing from you, which, by the way, congratulations to all of you who have already reached out to us. You've texted VIP. We've already onboarded you. I see some of you on our dashboard. You're already studying. You're already training. So if you reach out to me today, you text VIP to 678-276-8253. We can get you instant access to our holding company course. We will RSVP you so you can get your email confirmation for this Saturday. You will already have your workbook, the replay, the holding company course, the startup kit. You have instant access to all of that today, and you could start training on those courses online. So when you join me this upcoming Saturday live, if you have any questions while we're tracking through this entire workbook this Saturday live, I can answer those questions. The last holding company workshop I hosted, I probably answered maybe 60 or 70 random questions, which you have access to those questions on your dashboard. But I look forward to hearing from you. All you have to do is text, again, VIP to 678-276-8253. I'm supposed to have been off at 12:45. It's 12:48, so I got to go. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining the show today. We'll be back here tomorrow. Same place, same time, 12 o'clock noon Eastern, right here on the Ramonepreston Show.